Alright guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay, and yes, this is a battle that a lot of you guys wanted to see. So I'm starting off right where you guys might want me to start, or at least this is where I wanted to start. So anyway, this is going to be a comparison of the brand new ZTE Axon 10 Pro on top versus the also famous LG G8, which is one of the best phones on the market for the price. I mean, you get so much with the G8. This is going to be an uphill battle for the Axon 10, and we're going to keep it all the way 100 in this video. So I'm going to compare several things in the video, and I want you to comment as I compare them. So when I talk about screen, I want to hear your thoughts on the screen. When I talk about battery, I want to hear your thoughts on the battery, and so on. So this video should be packed with comments because that's what I want to hear, especially from people who have both phones or one or the other. So let's get this thing going. I'm starting here with screen, so you can see the differences in the screen quality. I loaded up an HDR video on both. Now, obviously, the G8 has a Quad HD display, and the Axon 10 has a AMOLED display. So I'm going to try to start these at the same time here. All right. It's tough to do this on camera. So already off the rip, you can kind of see that, if you can't tell, the video seems really boosted in brightness on the Axon 10 Pro. But brightness doesn't mean better quality. But I will say that the Axon 10 Pro has a beautiful display. Brightness on the G8 has always been one of its downfalls. It's just been something that it just didn't produce a bright screen. However, color accuracy is right on point with the G8, and it is just absolutely stunning, folks. This footage is absolutely great, and you can't go wrong with either one. But you can see the difference in the Quad HD display for the AMOLED display. So I like both of these. It's hard to pick, but for color accuracy, I think the G8 is a little bit more accurate, and the colors on the Axon 10 Pro might be boosting it a little too much, making it a little too punchy. But I like punchy colors. However, this HDR video is absolutely great on both, and that is where the screens stand with me. Wow, that is a tough one, but I give the edge to the G8 because the G8 does have a Quad HD display, and it's a smaller display, so you're getting a much higher resolution on the G8. This is something that we kind of knew it was going to be this way. So the G8 definitely wins the screen battle, even though it has the smaller display. If you've never seen the G8's display in person, you need to check it out. It's absolutely just beautiful, and it's a tough screen to beat. I've matched the G8 against so many phones, and it's just a tough phone to beat in a lot of areas. Now, they both have this cutout at the top up here, but you get like a little small cutout just for the camera on the Axon 10 Pro. The G8 has more sensors up there because it has got this secure facial recognition just like the iPhones do. So that is why they see the difference here, but you can actually cut off that area at the top. G8, the LG leaves it open, you know, for it to happen. So these are beautiful. Wow. Let's talk about build quality. Now, this Axon 10, the Challenger, is a glass front and back and an aluminum frame. And then the G8 obviously has a glass, front glass at Gorilla Glass 5, and the back is Gorilla Glass 6 with an aluminum frame as well. Now, the G8 has a military drop rating, so it's supposed to be a lot stronger, and the Axon 10 does not have a military rating. However, that doesn't mean that if you drop it, it'll shatter. So build quality, let's start with the Challenger here. Here is, man, I gotta get up. Both of these phones have these shiny backs. Build quality and design is what we're looking at, and size. So the Axon 10 is just absolutely one of the most beautiful phones you could actually get in your hand. You gotta see this thing in person. I think you're gonna be blown away at what you see. You're not gonna believe it. You're not gonna believe it, man. This thing is absolutely just gorgeous. It's very reflective, as you can see, and the G8 is too. But you got this nice camera set up on the back here. You do get a camera bump on the Axon 10, but that's a part of the game. No headphone jack, just Type C, and you get a dongle in the box there. And then you've got your volume and power, which I like. They're on one side. That's pretty good. Not talking so much about the G8, but the volume rocker and power button on the right side is definitely a huge plus for me. Then you have this in-screen fingerprint reader, which is generally really fast, and it works very, very well. So when you switch over to the G8, this is what ZTE should have done, man, for the Axon 10. This build quality and design and color here is this crimson red is absolutely stunning, folks. And you get a headphone jack. So, you know, build quality and design, just looking these over here, you know, you get this fingerprint reader, you get a flush camera, which is pretty sweet. Then you get your power button on this side, and you have a button here to program, which I have mine disabled. It should be disabled. And then you've got your volume rockers on this side. Not so much a fan of external buttons for things that, you know, then I can go and disable it, but that's what it is. So, the build quality and design and size of these phones, both of these are absolutely beautiful. However, there can only be one. There can only be one. As I get them cleaned up here. The G8 is still one of the best looking phones on the market. Size of the phone is perfect. It's a 6.1 inch. Now, this is a 6.47, and you can see it's not that much bigger. However, the G8 is just one of the best. Also, the G8 has these flat sides, and this has a curved side. So you got a flat screen pretty much on here, just a little bit of taper off on there. Overall, folks, I love the Axon 10 Pro, but the G8 still wins for build quality, size, design. That flush camera, there's no reason why phones companies today have to have a big camera bump. So that's honest truth. I like the color of the G8 better. I like the size of the G8 better. I get a headphone jack. I get a fingerprint reader on the back, which is always going to be a lot more stable than an in-screen fingerprint reader. It's just not. It's not a knock on the Axon 10. It's just that's just how I feel. A physical fingerprint reader will probably always be better than an in-screen fingerprint reader. In-screen fingerprint readers are new. You know, they're new. So, you know, having to unlock your phone with a in-screen fingerprint reader could be tough at times. So I like the Axon 10, but I still give the edge to the LG G8. It is just a beautiful piece of hardware, and it's nice and compact, and it's packing a lot. Now, something that you can't see on both of these is a high-powered DAC. They both have a high-powered DAC. They both have audio and Dolby audio. This one actually has DTS, man. DTS. High quad set of quad deck. It's just one of the best, if not the top dog, when it comes to plugging in earbuds, earphones, headphones into a device. Can't be beat. There's not a lot of phones that can do it. It just can't be beat. And the Axon 10 Pro, it's no exception. Now, they both have the Snapdragon 855 inside with the 7nm chip, but the difference is RAM. So with the Axon 10 having more RAM, you would think that, you know, it's going to handle performance a heck of a lot better. It's stock Android. You know, it's going to be, you know, it's going to be a powerhouse. All right, so let's take a look at opening some applications, man. I want to open up a few apps just to see how the phones can handle. We have more RAM over here, but we do have 6 gigs over here and 8 over here. But let's see how the difference is in performance on Snapdragon 855 with 8 gigs and 6 gigs, and then also the different skins. This is stock Android over here, and this is LG skin here. So we'll see how much better stock Android is optimized on the Axon 10 Pro with that bump and advantage in gig. Let's open the camera app. Okay. Let's open Twitter. Okay. Neither one of them went to the top, so that's fine. Let's open Instagram. Right on point. Let's open something a little bit more difficult. Let's open up my front camera to the house to see if it'll. Let's open up the garage camera. That one's even worse. It takes a long time to load this app. As you can see there, and the system logged me out of here for some reason. I don't know why it does that.
But we'll get logged in, and then I'll open the camera.
All right, now let's open the camera. As you can see, they opened them up. Let's look inside. So it's good. they both open pretty quick. Now let's open the front door. All right, you can see that little bump in the edge there for the Axon 10 Pro. Let's open the camera though. As you can see there, they pretty much loaded at the same time. That's a real-time feed right there. So, you know, software-wise, they both perform fast to me. I don't have a problem with either one of them. And I think, obviously, choosing either one of these, here's the difference. This has more RAM, and this has more internal storage too. So you've got 8 gigs and 256 gigs in this model, dual SIM, and you can do an SD card. Over here, you've got the SD card slot, and you've got 6 gigs of RAM with 128 gigs onboard storage. So the Axon 10 wins in that light for sure, because you've got more and you're paying less, and we'll get to price in a little bit. Now, let's take a look at price, since I spoke of price, and then we'll close this out with 2 more things. So the Axon 10 wins in the price. There's no other way to say that. This costs less, period. This is $550 for this device right here. 8 gigs, 256 gigs of storage, and all the goodies involved. And then you have $620 is the lowest price tag over here for the LG G8. So the price wars, I won't drag that on. The Axon 10 wins. It costs less, and you're getting a heck of a lot more on paper. So battery life. Battery life is always subjective, but for me, the Axon 10 Pro wins. It has killer battery life. You can easily pull down. I mean, it's also running a 1080p display too, but it's an AMOLED display, and this is a POLED display. So, but it's Quad HD though. So you've got 564 pixels being pushed over here. I can turn the display down, but I choose not to do that. And then you've got 398 pixels running over here all the time. So the battery life on the Axon 10 Pro has been much better, easily pushing between 6.5 and 7.5 hours of screen on time. And it's that good. Battery life is much better over here than on the G8. But you know, the G8 is pushing a little bit more screen, I think, so that might be the reason why. But nonetheless, we give definitely the win to the Axon 10 Pro for battery life. Now, what you've been ready to see is cameras, and we're going to get it on right now. All right, guys, here is the LG G8 and the Axon 10 Pro side by side. The G8 can do 4K at 60 frames per second, and the Axon 10 cannot. The G8 is just so smooth. It's unbelievable how beautiful this phone records. But the Axon 10 for sure is nice too. The colors on the G8 are just realistic when compared next to the Axon 10 Pro. It's absolutely stunning. So let's make this a fair fight and do 1080p at 60. The G8 just shines through. The Axon 10 Pro is great, man. But the G8 is just producing a more realistic approach to this. I mean, just kind of look at the grass there. And it's crazy. You don't know how good a phone is until you put it next to another phone. The Axon 10 Pro is a beautiful, beautiful phone with beautiful cameras. But what do you think about it next to the G8? All right, so what do you think about the cameras? Sound off in the comments. Well, the overall win for me goes to the G8. I think the G8 is one of the best devices to date. Even though the Axon 10 Pro's price is lower and you're getting more on paper, the overall, man, this is a champ. It's going to take a lot to beat this phone, man. And that is just the truth. This phone is offering a Quad HD display, and it only costs, you know, and I say it costs $620. That's what I paid for it. However, some people have gotten this on promo for $299, you know, so you can get a good deal on this thing, man. It's really that good. So I would definitely tell a person, buy the Axon. Now, financially, the Axon 10 is the smarter purchase. Apparently, obviously it is, because even though it doesn't have a Quad HD display, cameras are still better on the G8 to me, and that's a huge thing for people. That's a huge deal. And the battery is better over here on the Axon 10 Pro, of course, but I still can pull down 6 hours, 6.5 hours, between 6 and 6.5 on the G8. So, you know, you got to ask yourself, am I willing to pay a little bit less, $70, between 20 and 70 bucks less, just to get that better battery life and lose out on the headphone jack, the quad DAC, you know, the Quad HD display. I didn't test the speakers on here because the Axon 10 has stereo speakers, and this has this boom sound speaker thing. And technically, if I set it up the way LG wants me to, it's much louder than the Axon 10 Pro. And even if I set it in a situation where I just blast them, it competes. So it doesn't win in that light by much. So I was like, you know, I'm not even going to bother putting that in the video, to be honest. But overall, though, this is a complete package, folks. You're getting the Snapdragon 855, latest processor, high resolution display. You're getting Android Pie on here. You're getting beautiful, beautiful design and killer cameras. There's not a lot of phones that can beat this camera in video, these cameras in video, and that's just what it is. So while the Axon 10 Pro is a fantastic purchase, I still would tell a person, if they had an extra 20, okay, so here's the thing. If you have 620 bucks, I wouldn't tell you to buy the Axon 10 Pro over the G8. That's just my opinion. But if you only had 550 and you just wanted all the latest specs, if you will, get the Axon 10 Pro. You can't go wrong. You're getting double the storage and 2 more gigs of RAM, and there's also an option for $599 for the Axon 10 Pro for 12 gigs. Not that you would need all of that, but hey, it's an option. You see, so, but the G8, folks, still to me is it is my benchmark for battling phones. It just has to be. It's so much being offered here, and we all know, like I said before, there's been tons of promos on this when it first hit, and it's not new anymore. So there's a ton of things to like about this phone, and it still competes. Cameras are still some of the best. That's the truth. So there's more to like about the G8 than it is about the Axon 10 Pro, but that does not mean that the Axon 10 Pro is a bad phone. Again, this phone is a hard phone to beat. I picked this phone over the OnePlus 7 Pro. So that lets you know how nice I feel like this phone is. Anyway, it's your man Jay. There's your winner in this battle right here. The G8 is still on top, in my opinion. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.